Pollination by Dona Rice. Pollination by Dona Rice. Plants and insects depend on each other to survive. Insects make it possible for plants to grow because of pollination. Take a look at the table of contents. What are some topics that you think we might be reading about? Teamwork, muscle and bone, fish and water, milk and cookies. Some of the best things in life depend on each other. Well, milk and cookies may not depend on each other, but most plants and a lot of insects do. They need each other to survive. Insects seek pollen in flowers. Some, like the Venus flytrap, trick the bugs and eat them. New plants don't just decide to grow one day. They need help to get things started. That is where insects come in. Wind and water help too. They make it possible for most plants to grow new plants. A big job. More than 90% of all plants need a pollinator. Pollination. Insects, wind, and water help plants. They do this through pollination. That is how they carry pollen from plant to plant. This starts the process that allows new plants to grow. Each beehive has a queen bee. She is the mother of all the other bees. Self or cross. A plant can pollinate itself. This is called self-fertilization. It also can pollinate another plant with the help of insects, animals, wind, or water. That's called cross-fertilization. Pollen is a dust. It is found at the end of a flower's stamens. Stamens are long and thin. They make the pollen. On the end of each stamen is an anther. The anther holds the pollen. Achoo! Some people are allergic to pollen. When there is a lot of flower pollen, they may sneeze and sneeze and sneeze. Anther, stamen. The pollen is the dust on the anther. To make a new plant, the pollen must reach the pistil. The pistil is the female part of the plant. The stigma is at the top of the pistil. The tube below it is the style. The ovary is at the base of the pistil. This is where the seeds are made. Anther, stigma, pistil, ovary, style, petal, stamen. In many flowers, petals protect the pistil. They surround it. They keep it safe. The stigma is sticky. Pollen can easily stick to it. Then it goes down the style. It reaches the ovary. Pistils may look different, but they all have the same purpose. Cotton has tiny hairs instead of flowers. These hairs make the fabric we use for clothing. One plant or two. Some plants, such as corn, have separate male and female parts on the same plant. Other plants, such as willow trees, have male and female parts on different plants. Stamen on a willow tree. Help is on the way. Plants do not get up and move on their own. They have no way to move their pollen to make new plants. They need help. Insects, wind, and water give them the help they need. Pollen can be carried on an animal's fur. Pollen sticks to insects when they feed on flowers. They carry the pollen on them as they fly. Some of that pollen falls off, or it can be caught by the wind or rain. Either way, the pollen's journey begins. Pollen grains. If you look at pollen through a microscope, this is what you will see. You can tell by its spiky shape that a pollen grain can stick to things easily. Pollen sticks to a bee's body. Corny. Corn has separate male and female flowers. Its stamens are the corn tassels. Its pistils are the ears of corn that have not yet developed. Stamen, pistil. Fertilize. In a plant, the male cell fertilizes the female cell. Pollen is the male cell. The female cell is the ovary. They make seeds together. Seeds, ovary. Pollinators. The helpers that carry the pollen are pollinators. Their job is important. Without them, there would be no new plants. Bats, moths, and birds are also good pollinators. Wind and water help a lot too, but two types of living things are the biggest heroes. They are bees and butterflies. Good for them too. By helping plants, bees and butterflies also help themselves. They feed from the flowers. They need new plants to keep growing. Butterflies. Butterflies trap pollen on their bodies too. They walk around on groups of flowers. This helps spread pollen. Butterflies have taste buds on their feet. They also have a long tube-like tongue they use like a straw to suck up liquid. Bees. Bees are some of the best pollinators. They have hairy bodies that trap pollen. They usually visit the same kind of flower. This keeps the pollen where it is needed. Their small size and short legs help bees get inside flowers too. Nature's puzzle. Nature is like a puzzle. Each part of nature connects to make an amazing whole. Pollination is like that. Plants, insects, wind, and water are parts of the puzzle, and nature needs every piece. Here's an activity that you can do at home with mom or dad. It says, let's do science. What is inside a flower? See for yourself. What to get, only with mom or dad. A butter knife and a flower with stamens and a pistil. What to do? Step 1. Look at the flower. See how it is shaped. See all its parts. Step 2. Have an adult help you find the stamens. Touch and study them. What do you notice? Step 3. Have an adult help you find the pistil. Touch and study it. What do you notice? Step 4. Carefully remove the pistil. Cut it open with an adult. What do you see? Step 5. Draw pictures of the parts of the flower. What do you think each part does? Glossary and index. I'm going to review some of the key vocabulary that you learned in this text. Anther, the part of a flower that holds the pollen. Depend, to count on or need. Ovary, the part of a plant where seeds are made. Pistil, the female part of a flower. Pollen, dust made by plants and carried to other plants, usually by wind or insects, so that plants can produce seeds. Pollinator, something that carries pollen from plant to plant. Stamens, parts of a flower that make pollen. Stigma, the top part in the center of a flower that receives the pollen. Style, the long, thin center part of the pistil. Survive, to remain alive.